You're listening to the Sisters in Loss podcast, a faith-based grief and loss podcast for Black women, where you will hear stories of miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, and infertility to learn there is a testimony in tragedy. You will learn how to heal, gain clarity, find hope and peace, and turn your pain into your purpose after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. McAfee. Well, thank you so much, Janelle, for being on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I would like you to share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I am an evangelist at my church, Greater Grace Church in Portsmouth, Virginia, where the pastor is Bishop James Jones Jr. We have been established for 10 years this August, and I am the women's ministry leader there, and I am a single mom raising an 11-year-old son. I have been trying to fulfill my purpose over the last couple of years of what God has for me and for my son and for my family in this season of my life. I'm just about doing his will, whatever his will is for my life. Just about doing that.
Yes, I love it. And fun fact, Janelle and I went to middle school and high school together. I'm trying to think the week.
I think we actually started elementary. I think it went.
I'm pretty sure we gone through elementary, middle, and high school together.
Yeah, we went through elementary, middle, and high.
Right. It was just so crazy. And then, of course, social media connects us. And then, of course, just being in this community connects us as well. So I am so happy that we're able to have you on the show and you share your story. So take us back on your journey to motherhood and just share with us your lost story.
Well, I became a mom for the first time in July of 2008. I had my son first, and he was born prematurely. Actually, he was born at 32 weeks. No, he was 34. He was 34 weeks, and he was in the NICU for about a week. And then I brought him home, and he was healthy, and you'd have never thought he was a preemie because about a month later, he was this chubby, chunky little baby, eating me out of house and home ever since then. And then I became pregnant not even 9 months later after having him with my daughter. And she was also a preemie. And both of them wasn't any medical reasons. I was just in a lot of pain with my daughter and put on bed rest several times, and she just wouldn't stay in. And so at 36 weeks, I had her, and she was born August 25th, 2009. And I honestly, because I was in such a different place when I got pregnant with my son, I lost my job, so I wasn't really working. Their dad was supporting me and our kids. And when I became pregnant, I put her up for adoption because I could barely take care of my son, and I didn't feel like I was ready, to try this again. I just was in a really bad place. And so I found a family and everything and told them, it's willing to give her up. And 2 weeks before I actually gave birth to her, never forget it. That's why it's significant to me that my brother started his church that same weekend he started his church, his own church. While we were in service, I heard God sweetly say to me, "Don't give her up." And I said to myself, I don't know if I can do that. I don't understand what you want me to do, God. I'm in this place. I can't even take care of myself and my son, and you want me to bring another child into this. And he said it to me again. And so I heard him, I listened, and I went and I told the wife that I couldn't do it. I heard from God, and he told me to keep her. And so I ended up having her 2 weeks later. She also went in the NICU, but she actually had to be sent over to, I had her at Chesapeake Regional, and she had to be sent over to Norfolk General for about a week. And then the funny thing with that, I was pumping and I went to take the milk, and the nurse said, "Oh, so when are you going to bring the car seat?" And I said, "Why would I need to bring the car seat?" She's like, "Oh, she's ready to go home." I wasn't told that. No one called me. No one said anything. And so I had to rush and go and get stuff done and get the car seat because I wasn't expecting her to come home for another week from what they told me. So I ended up bringing her home and things were good, but I was still struggling. I felt alone in the moment, even though I was living with the person I had my kids with. I felt alone, like I was doing it all by myself. And one specific day, I sat on the floor and I cried and I said, "God, I can't do this. You have to fix this. I can't take care of these kids by myself. You told me to keep her, but I can't take care of these two alone by myself." Well, lo and behold, 2 months later, Christmas Eve, I was playing with both of the kids. I got up and I started cleaning because my boyfriend at the time, his family was coming over for Christmas dinner at our house. So I was trying to clean up and make sure things were good for them when they came over. And lo and behold, I laid her down for a nap because she fell asleep in the swing set. And when I came back to check on her later on that evening, I looked and her face was buried in the side of the bassinet like it always is. So I just turned it. But when I turned it and I knew something was wrong, I tried to do CPR and they worked on her and everything. And they took her to the hospital. And once I got to the hospital, they had me met with the chaplain and he talked to me. And then the doctor came in and she tried to tell me to let me know that they were still working on her. And then they took me to the room and I saw her foot, the bottom of her foot. All these people were covering her. And when I looked, I could see there was no color in her foot. And then the doctor asked me then, she said, "We've been working on her for 2 hours. Do you want us to stop?" And I said, yes. And I instantly got sick because I knew what had happened. And in that moment, I started to blame myself because I felt like the prayer I had prayed 2 months prior to that in the floor was how he decided to answer my prayer. And so I struggled for months afterwards with blaming myself for the cause of my daughter being gone. She died of SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome, and they have no research that shows what causes it. It's just something that kind of happens. I have seen where they have said that it could be because of when you have breathing troubles as a child, as a baby when you're first born. But that's not really accurate. But it was a gut-wrenching thing to me, but I still had to be a mom to my son. Christmas is never the same for me for the last 10 years, but I pushed through for my son, and I'm forever grateful for my son. When I preached my sermon in May for Women's Month, I called him, he's my blessing, because he's pushed me through a lot of times when I just didn't want to. And losing a child over the last 10 years, a lot of people don't understand. And I've always heard people say that you should be over this by now. But losing any loved one is a hard thing, and it is a process. And some people who have not lost someone very dear to them don't understand the process that it takes to become normal or the new normal, because you don't get over it. You learn to survive it. And I've learned to survive it over the last 10 years.
Wow. Such a powerful story about just how you have really learned how to survive. So I would like for you to really just share with us, like, what have you done to really go through that grief process and really heal over the last 10 years?
For me, I've battled with depression, and I had a mix with mine. I was in a toxic relationship as well as dealing with my depression. So there were other things that factored into how I felt all the time. So a lot of times I would just go in a shell. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I wouldn't tell anyone, a lot of the things that I was dealing with. And I finally got to the point. I did do therapy because after a couple months after my daughter passed away, I attempted suicide. I ended up going into a psych ward for 3 days, and which therapy was recommended. Therapy was done there, and therapy was recommended afterwards is what I ended up doing. And it helped a lot for me to deal with my feelings and emotions with what I was going through. So I've always told people, like, if you need to talk to someone, go talk to someone, because it helps, even though in the Black community, there's a stigma on therapy. Yeah. And I've been raised in church, but yeah, I can go and pray. I can go talk to God, but still somebody needs to know. I need to talk to someone who can tell me why I'm feeling this way and what I need to do to be able to get out of this place. But prayer and going to church and still worshiping God, even though I felt like I was all alone and he really wasn't hearing me cry out, but he was there the whole time. And I knew he was. It was just very difficult for me in that moment, because I'm like, how would you bless me with her? How would you tell me to keep her and then take her away from me? And in the 10 years, it took me getting to year 10 to realize that my purpose in it, because I swear daily, monthly, weekly, I walk into someone telling me, my strength that they see in me, it does something for them. And I never knew that. And a lot of people don't understand what you hide behind. And I made a post the other day, looking at my pictures on Facebook that I've recently posted in the last couple of months, because I finally let go of a toxic relationship after 12 years. And for the last 8-9 months, I've been free and learning to love me again. And I looked at those pictures that I posted, and I looked at them and I saw this smile that I haven't seen in years. And it's not that I don't still have my attachment to my daughter and that I don't miss her. I still have that. But when I went this year for her birthday, this is year 10. And when I went to go release balloons for her birthday on the 25th, I still miss her, but I didn't have that feeling of, I want to go in this hole. I want to just be alone. I don't want to be bothered. And 2 of my best friends surprised the mess out of me. I didn't even know they were coming, but they met me out there at the cemetery to release balloons along with some other family members. And I put my pain for this year and how it makes me feel in doing something for someone else this year, instead of wallowing in my feelings and taking off from work and staying at home in the dark because I just felt that way. I was able to bless 2 little girls for school with a book bag with supplies and outfits in it for school. And that's something that truly showed me that I'm in a different place than I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, even 8 years ago, because I used to be in a place where I'd hide, I wouldn't go. It took me years to go back to the cemetery. My mom knows I don't go out there. I barely go out there because it hurts so much for me. So for me to be able to go out there and be okay this time, I shedded tears all during the morning, but when I went out to the cemetery, I felt such a peace releasing those balloons for her birthday. And it's a struggle because my son wanted to be the big brother. I took him 1 year and he told me, he said, "Mom, I couldn't protect her." And it broke me down. And I had to let him know. I said, it's not your fault. You were only one, so it wouldn't have been anything you could do anyway. But he felt as a big brother, he was supposed to protect her. And I was like, no, you did what you were supposed to do. And now she's looking over you and protecting you. So I get my strength from God to be able to go every day and still be okay. Be able to take it one day at a time. Anytime I talk to someone who's grieving, I tell them to take it 1 minute, 1 second, 1 hour, 1 day at a time, because it's what you have to feel and process what you feel. Because if you hold in anything, if you bottle it in, you will literally drive yourself crazy and make yourself sick. And so for me, I find freedom in writing in my prayer journal, in praying to God. And like I said, therapy helps as well. A lot of people don't like to go, but I feel as though therapy is a very freeing thing as well as church.
I love that. I also would love for you to share a little bit about how you parent differently after loss. You know, how have you parented your son, especially now, because he is older than your baby girl. So talk to us about just that, how parenting looks like after you've lost a baby.
Parenting is a lot different after you've lost a child. I never would have thought my son would have my son is a different type. And I've always said that he has enough love for me, for himself, enough for himself and for his sister. I'll never forget first grade, he was in class and his teacher ended up calling me and telling me that he told her about his sister, and she was confused because he, was talking about her and that she had passed away, and she thought it was like right then that it was that was current. And I had to tell her, I said, no, she passed away in 2009. And I didn't know because he never really talked to me until then about how he felt about her and that he missed her. And he tells me that on a constant basis, that he misses her. And even when this year comes, he knows that it's very difficult for me. So this past birthday, I noticed he was all up on me. He's like, are you okay? And I told him, I said, I'm fine. I'm okay. And he let me know that he was there. And parenting now with him, I have an amazing child. I tell people all the time, I have an enigma of a child because I have no trouble out of him. I have no problems. And he makes parenting easy. I push through Christmas for him because normally when Christmas Eve comes around, I really just don't want to do anything. This past Christmas, last year's Christmas, not that I forgot about her, but I didn't get to wallow in my feelings because I was trying to make sure that his Christmas was all that I wanted it to be for him. I was out looking for goldfish at 6:00 on Christmas Eve because he wanted a fish. He wanted a pet. And so I didn't get to sit in my feelings. I didn't get to sit and just be like, oh my God, I hate this day, because I was busy being a mom. And I have my moments. Anybody who has kids and who either has both or either has one or the other, I laugh and I joke. All of my best friends pretty much have girls, and I'm the only one with a boy, except for one. She just had a boy a couple of years ago. He's 3, but everybody else had girls. And so I joke with them because I feel like he's more difficult when it comes to certain things. And so I don't get to experience like what I did for her birthday, to honor her and her birthday this year. I had to ask my best friends because I did not know. I bought these dresses. I was like, are you supposed to buy tights? Are you supposed to buy this? I didn't know because I'm used to buying shirts and shorts for my son. And so parenting is different. I had my daughter and I wanted to have that doll baby, and I don't get to, I can dress my son up, but for the most part, he's a sneakers and shorts and t-shirts type of kid. So parenting for me even right now, is just making sure that he knows that he's loved and that I'm there no matter what. Because even with the first day of school, he started middle school this year, first year of middle school, and he was so nervous standing at the bus stop. And before we left out, we had a moment, and I told him, I said, look, I'm proud of you. You've done amazing through elementary school, and you're going to do great in middle school. You got this. And nothing, you're just going to make yourself, you're going to make yourself and make us proud. And I believe that he's a special kid. He's so loving and so intelligent when I'm having a moment. And so he's just there. And so I'm grateful that I do still have a child, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people lose children and can't do it again, or whatever the case may be. And so I'm grateful that I do still have a child, that I do get to still be able to watch him grow. It hurts at times, because I say to myself, I wonder how they would be now together, that they're older, and now, who would be who, because I swear he's my sweetheart and she'd have probably been my little mean, evil child, but they're a part of me and she's a part of him. I believe, honestly, there are times that he's just there to let me know that she's there.
Yes, I love that. And I love that your friends support you through it and you get to spoil their girls. And I always just love and admire you all from afar. Like I said before, me and Janelle went to went to school together. So we know all the same people. Right. So it's always good to see how everybody's still connected. And that's the one thing too. And maybe we can just talk a little bit about that, just about how your friendships have evolved over time. I mean, you and your group of girlfriends have been together since, y'all are probably 7 or 8. And how they really have rallied around you and supported you through this part of your journey, no different than you've supported them through any of the hard times in their life. So talk to us about that, and just how having that sisterhood, those good girlfriends that you can laugh, cry with, and pray with, and will pray for you during your troubling times, especially after you've gone through a loss and you go through the anniversary day that just recently happened. And like you said, Christmas is definitely difficult for you. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, like you said, I've known them. One of them, we've known each other since 7th grade. And Alexis and Shayla, we all became a real tight group. And we just had that conversation the other day, 2001. And we were actually just talking about, we'll hit 20 years in 2021. So we're planning a 20th year anniversary of our friendship. But they have been a part of my life in every journey, in every obstacle. And they mean the world to me. And that's why, like I said, when it was so funny, we have a group chat and they all sent me messages that morning to let me know they were praying for me and that, they were there for me. And it was so funny. My friend Nicole sent me a message in the group chat and she said, he asked me something. And my response was, I was like, well, I'm headed to the cemetery to release balloons. And she said, oh, okay, you should have told me. And I said, I'm sorry. And lo and behold, and I couldn't figure out why my mom kept calling me and was fussing. Like, where are you? I told you I had to go because Dollar Tree never has helium anymore. I had to go all the way to Party City and go and get the balloons and drive back to the cemetery. And so when I pulled up, as soon as I turned in, I looked and there are my 2 best friends standing there. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I wanted to start crying because I'm like, for you to even remember that moment and to be there for me meant a lot. They gave me cards and they were there. And that's something, and I'm crying because you don't get that a lot. A lot of women don't still have friends, and I love them dearly because we got some secrets. I tell them all the time, I'm like, we got some secrets. We take it to the grave between the 4 of us. But the crazy thing is, no matter what obstacle, no matter what any of us have been through, we're always there for each other no matter what. There's no judgment between the four of us. It's just a genuine friendship. They could not be any closer to me if they were blood. And we've been there, for births, for me, in my case, death. They were there. The only one that wasn't was Alexis. That's the funny thing. We each have a child that is close to each other in birth date or in year. And she and I's daughter, Alexis and I's daughter, would have been the two that would have been together because she had her daughter that same weekend that I was dealing with the passing of my daughter. And I'll never forget, her parents came over to see me. And I was like, I said, where's Lex? And they told me that she had the baby. And I ended up calling her. I said, why didn't you call me and tell me? She said, I didn't want to tell you because I knew you were dealing with what you were dealing with. I said, that didn't matter. Even in my moment of hurting, in my moment of pain, I still would have been there for her in her moment of happiness. But our friendship is beyond that. Like you said, we pray for each other. We're there for each other. We have our laughing moments. We have our crying moments. And they're the three females that I've been friends with for a majority of my life. And I know they'll always be there. We'll probably end up being the Golden Girls further on down the road when we're old, but I love them dearly. We talk almost every day in our group chat. And we even went through a phase in our lives when everybody was doing their own thing where we weren't talking every day. But no matter how long it had been that we hadn't talked, when we get together, it feels like we didn't miss a beat. So they are very instrumental in when I have my moments, when I have those times where I just feel like I want to go in my dark place or I want to hide. I know I can reach out to them and they'll be like, we need a girls' night, or we need to, come over here, come to my house, or we'll come over. And I know that I can go over, and if I just need to cry, I can just cry and they'll be there. So it has been instrumental. And it also has been instrumental in my son's life as to having girls around him that are, that are close. And because our kids have that relationship where they are close with each other. They all talk and see pictures for the first day of school and everything like that. So our friendship has blossomed into our children having those relationships. So it's a beautiful thing. And I love the friendship that we have that has spanned it over 20 some years. So
hey sisters, it is December and the new sistersinlaws.com website is now live. Yes, we now have a space for us, by us, for all things Black infant and maternal health. Join us over there at sistersinlaws.com and download our 100 plus Black owned ran businesses and organizations that are related to pregnancy and infant loss and infertility. If you want to write or contribute to the sistersinlaws.com website, please email us at hi@sistersinlaws.com. Check out our new website and let us know how you like it in our Facebook community at sistersinlaws.com.
That's amazing. And it's so interesting hearing the other side of it, because I did not know that Alexis, her daughter, was born around the same time. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, I did not even know that. So I learned something new today from about you, Janelle, that I didn't already know about you all.
Her daughter was born that same weekend that I lost my daughter, and she didn't want to call me. And I understood what she was not calling me for, but I told her, I said, no matter our friendship, I'd have still been there, even in my moment, I'd have still wanted to know. So, but that's just how we are with each other.
Right. And I love that. And I love that because I see it from afar through just us being connected through social media. And, I always tell Alexis in her DMs, like, girl, even though I don't talk to y'all often, I admire it because you know how friendships, and you all who listen, and y'all know how friendships are as you transition from one part of your life to the next part of your life. And then you get in your 30s and you be like, girl, we was cool, 10 years ago. What happened?
And the crazy thing is only one is married. Only one of us is, Nicole is the only one that's married.
Yeah.
And even with that we would have separated or, it'd have been a thing, we don't hang out as much. But Nicole's husband understands she come with a package and
right. Y'all are a package deal.
And so he accepts us as, because we're always, I know we say it all the time. So he accepts us as well. And so you see that over the years when your friends get married, they no longer hang out with their single friends. But that has not changed with us. We are all, we all still hang out, as much as we can when life, allows us to, because we always have, all different schedules, being moms and different things that are going on. But we make sure that we do make time for each other and we make time to, spend with each other. And I think that's good for any.
No, it is. And I that's why I admire and I wanted to talk about it, because I think that a lot of people may lose friendships after they've gone through such a traumatic experience, or their friends may be distant from them and may not know how to support them in that way. And I just feel like, it just tells the test of time of true friendship, even from, we were kids in middle school and high school, but to be friends through all of life's ups and downs. I think that it is a blessing. And for those who are listening, if you have those type of sister friends, hold on to them and just tell them just to be there, even if you don't know what for them to do, to how to support you through as you're healing and going through your grieving process, just to be there. And sometimes just having them come over and just sit with you and y'all just kiki and talk about whatever's going on is all is needed,
Yep. And because just like I said, that day, the simple fact that they even reached out to my mom to find out if I was doing anything meant the world to me. A lot of people don't, and I get it. A lot of people don't know what to say. And I've heard that a lot of times. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. A lot of times it's not saying anything. It's not doing anything. It's just being there.
Absolutely.
Make sure you check on your friends that that could possibly be going through. Because a lot of times people go through in silence. A lot of people go through because they don't want anybody to know, or they don't want to seem vulnerable. And just checking on them. I have friends that I do that because a lot of times that's all somebody needs or want, to feel like somebody's there, that somebody cares. I dare you to reach out. And I promise you, who knows what God can do.
Yes. You never know. I love that. You never know. You're reaching out to someone, just a quick text message, a quick DM, a quick post on their Facebook page, how God can restore that friendship or just bring you back to the same place where you left off. I love that. So great advice. So last question I have for you is just, what encouraging words can you leave with the moms out there who may be still struggling with their grief and their healing? And even though it may have been some time since they've had their loss, they just need some encouragement and motivation to keep going on their journey.
I encourage you to, like I said earlier, whatever your emotion is, whatever you're feeling at that time, I encourage you to live in that moment, but don't stay there. Grieving it has stages. And even though I'm 10 years into my grieving process, I told myself majority of August, I was like, I'm good. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be able to hold it together. And then August 25th got here and I was a ball of tears majority of the morning because I just missed her that much. But I let myself feel that in that moment, but I didn't let myself stay there all day. I didn't let myself become that emotion, because if I let that emotion stay too long, the battle that I have with depression would take over. And the season that I am in my life, I found so much joy and happiness in loving myself and loving the season that I'm in my life, enjoying life. And it's okay to enjoy life. Don't let anybody make you feel like you can't enjoy life and not grieve too, because you can. Because you can't. I've watched not only me losing a child, but I've watched my mother lose 2 husbands. And my mom is still trying to, even 3 years later, still trying to rebuild and move on from that hurt. And so it's not bad to feel those emotions. Don't let anyone make you feel that it's bad to feel those emotions, or don't let anyone make you feel like you should be over that you should be over your grief and that you should be okay by now. Grief has no time. I believe that grief is forever. You just learn how to deal with it in your everyday life, because there could be any type of triggers. For me, sometimes it's little girls that would be the age of my daughter. And sometimes I have those moments where I'm like, oh, I could be doing this with my daughter, but I'm not. But I live in my purpose of knowing that God took her for a reason. And the crazy thing is, for year 10, I did the book, like I told you all, I did the book bags and the giving the clothes away. Well, for year 10, he spoke to me that morning while I was getting ready and told me that I needed to start a foundation in my daughter's name to help grieving families, grieving mothers and families of lost children. And this is not of any, it doesn't matter if it's a baby or if it's a grown adult child. Losing a child, period, is a hard thing, because that's someone that you gave birth to, that you have a connection with. And it's never an easy process. And a lot of times you feel alone because a lot of people don't talk about their feelings or their emotions. And I've learned that I get freedom in talking about mine. Actually, Erica and I both had, I don't know if you saw it, but a young lady that we went to high school with, middle school and high school, Jamie, announced that she was having a baby. And then a week later, they had to announce that she lost the baby before I responded. And when I finally responded, she responded to my message and she told me, she said, I've always admired your strength. But when I read the message, I'm like, people are watching me.
They are.
I don't realize it, but people have watched me deal with this, my loss. And after 10 years, yeah, I still have hurt. I still have pain from it, but it's a blessing that I'm a blessing to other people. And I don't even know it, that my life touches someone else's life and I don't even know it. And so get your strength back. If you're in a place where you're depressed, you're not loving yourself, you do something for yourself. I've learned over the years, I take time for myself a lot of times, because at one point in my life, I was doing everything for everybody else, but I wasn't doing what Janelle wanted to do to make her happy. Music is something that I love, so I take a lot of time. I'll go and listen to a live band, or I'll take time and just go, like today, like tonight. It's a cool night. Go somewhere, put my headphones in, and listen to some music and just spend time with me. Because a lot of times we put our emotions in helping other people and not dealing with what we really feel. And so if anything, I dare people tonight listening to this podcast to take the time for yourself, love you, and deal with your pain in that moment, but don't stay there.
Yes, I love it. Such great advice for our listeners. So where can we connect with you after this episode, Janelle?
You can connect with me on Facebook with Janelle Jones. Evonte is spelled Evonte, Jones on Facebook, and Instagram is Beautiful Nellie J, NELLEJ. By email, Janelle Jones, the number 24 at gmail.com. I'm here for anyone that's ever going through, because I've been there. I've been the person who's crying in the middle of the night, who feels all alone, and who feels like, because it's one thing when you're going through, and I've always said that because I've seen it so many times, when that loved one dies, everybody is there. But once you put them in the ground, all of those people are gone, and you're left with dealing with your emotions and how you feel. And so I know how it feels to feel alone and feel like there's nobody that understands. And so if anyone wants to reach out, you can. I would love to talk to you, pray with you, whatever encouraging words I can give. I'm an open book.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your light and just sharing a little bit more about your baby girl with us. I think it has been a blessing to the listeners, and it's just been a blessing for me, because it's been a blessing to watch your story over the years. As you mentioned before with Jamie, I actually met with Jamie yesterday, and we kind of talked about just some of the people that we both known, and your name had came up, that have gone through this. And I just, like, every time I see you post your memorial, it just makes me proud and makes me want to continue to post pictures and to continue to really do what I do now with this podcast and share those stories, because our stories need to be told. The memories and lives of our babies the legacies need to be told in this manner. Yeah. And this is how we continue to get the word out for people to not be silent about it. So I'm so grateful for our friendship over the years. Yes. And then just you being an example to me and so many others that are just like you said, you just don't know who you've impacted just through social media. So thank you so much for sharing your story and your light with us. And I so appreciate it.
I appreciate you for allowing me to. And it's funny, you were talking about people that we know. The Sunday that I did the book bags and I did them at church, one of the young ladies walked up to me afterwards. She was like, I want to connect you with this young lady. She does these podcasts. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she hadn't even said your name. She said, she was like, she's lost a son. I said, Erica. And she said, yeah, how do you know? I said, I went to school with Erica. I said, I'm actually already scheduled. Her name is Rebecca. She's from Boston. So she
she went to college with my husband. Oh, this is such a small world.
Right. So she goes to my church, and she was getting ready to connect me with you. And I said, what's funny is I'm actually already scheduled to be on the podcast that next following week.
Wow.
She was like, oh my God. She was like, so okay. She's like, I really wanted to connect you with her. I was like, yeah, I've been connected with her since middle school, high school. Right. So it was so funny when she said it to me. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, wow.
How small is this world? Crazy guys, right?
And it was confirmation for me that I was doing it.
Yes.
Because I've seen you do it, but I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to tell my story. I don't know if emotionally I'm ready to. And so when I saw that you posted that you were looking for people, I said, you know what? In this year, in year 10, where I am in my life, I'm ready to tell my story. And it's refreshing to know that your podcast is blessing so many people. I've watched your story as well, and you're an inspiration to me. I just have to tell you that when you say, God, what do you want from me in my purpose of this? Because I know there was a purpose for you taking her from me, because you wanted something out of me. And it has birthed so much. And that's what a friend of me actually spoke over me that same Sunday, the rebirth of this, because I talk about the death, but the birth that comes out of the purpose from this. No woman who has lost a child, there's no reason. There's a purpose in every woman losing a child, and God has a purpose. Even though you may not feel it in that moment, God has a purpose for you to touch, for all of us to touch another woman who's going through this, because a lot of women go through this in silence. A lot of women go through this and they don't have anyone. And it takes a toll on marriages and relationships and a lot of things. So you're an inspiration every time I see you post another one. Every time you've had one of your brunches, I wanted to come, and it's something I've already got going on, but you're an inspiration to me as well. Because, and I'm glad that you got to see Jamie, because other women need to know there are people there to help them, that there's someone that has been through what they've been through, because losing a child is not an easy thing. It never is. And some people don't understand it, especially if you have children. If you can have children, whatever the case may be, a lot of people don't understand the toll it takes on a woman, and what it makes, what mentally and emotionally it does to a woman. Losing a child or not being able to have a child, it does a lot to a woman, and people don't understand that. They think it's something that you should just be okay with, and it's not. So you're an inspiration to me, and I'm very proud to know you, and very proud to be on your podcast tonight.
Oh, thank you so much.